Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, we'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 13 of the anime series Hibike Euphonium Season 2, for all intents and purposes, the season finale. And really, it felt very much like a series finale to me in actuality. Like, this was a true sense of closure. I basically said the same thing about the previous episode. I felt like all the through lines, all the story threads had been wrapped up in a nice, neat little bow by the end of the previous episode. And I was really not sure what more there was, left to the story, what more they could do. And after watching this episode, they managed to really add a sort of extra little bit of fluff, an extra layer to it that didn't feel like they were struggling along to do so. It still felt very well plotted because this was, for all intents and purposes, an episode of goodbyes. It was very much Kumiko and her class saying goodbye to the third years, the moving up of the second years, who would now become the class president and vice president, Yuko and Natsuki, respectively, which is like a facepalm, just level of genius I can't even begin to scratch the surface of. And very much was this a personal plight of Kumiko's, wanting to say goodbye in the way she felt most befitting to her own personality and experiences to Asuka Senpai. And she, there was this great visual alignment of something I've been talking about all season long, the idea of parallels, and most especially that parallel dynamic going on between Kumiko and her sister Mamiko, who she's now writing letters and cards to back and forth wherever Mamiko may be, and Asuka Senpai, who she feels like is a surrogate sister, for that lack of relationship until most recently between Kumiko and Mamiko. I mean, for the most part, the closest sort of character she's gotten to in an almost sisterly familial sense is Asuka Senpai. And she very much in this episode, it's not only about all of the class putting on a benefit, for the air quotes retiring third years. They will be moving on, and you have certain characters, being told, behave in college and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, it's really, truly a time of evolution for their characters. They're leaving this school behind. They're going to be focusing on the next chapter of their lives. And so there is a bittersweetness abounding, as we see musical pieces being performed. I loved, by the way, the one performed by the third years for the rest of them, and then they swap it up, and you have our main class, sort of the surviving members in any case, playing the piece they've been learning ever since season 1 for the third years as a sentiment of goodbye and all this kind of stuff. And to see Kumiko almost, parodying that whole sequence where she was chasing after Mamiko in the previous episode and really desperately wanting to share her sentiments with Mamiko, her elder sister, to see her doing that again, only this time it's Asuka Senpai, and she's asking, when everyone's leaving at the end of the day, and then after the benefit, well, where is she? Where is she? Where is she? And finally she catches up to her, and it's just so meaningful because once again, Asuka, it's just the nature of her personality to be sort of aloof and to be sort of, not taking things seriously. And so, of course, she's getting in the playful ribbing once again. We saw this earlier in the episode where, effectively Kumiko was told to go after Shuichi because he gave her a gift and everything. And they really downplayed the whole Kumiko Shuichi thing during this season. I've seen comments from people suggesting there was more to that in the manga. I don't know if this is incorrect or correct or what have you, not having read the manga. I didn't feel like it was that paramount to the story, but at the same time, I kind of like that Kumiko actually did go after him, and was a little suspicious that maybe he had spread it around that he gave her a gift and everything. And I think it was just Hazuki's, formulating in her mind what was actually going on. Maybe she helped pick out the gift. Who knows? But there was that encounter with Asuka Senpai on that bridge where effectively, she's like teasing Kumiko, young love, what it is to be young and all these kind of stuff. And Kumiko, she has the opportunity. She knows she wants to say something, but she's not quite aligned in her mind what it is yet. She hasn't quite pieced it together. It's something very much through the course of the episode does she align herself too? Does she figure out, does she put those pieces together and thus chases after her and professes her love? You know, all of the intricacies of their relationship, of all of the things that Asuka revealed to Kumiko, and singularly Kumiko, about her father, about this piece that was written by him, and the fact that he left it behind and sent his Euphonium to Asuka in the hopes that she would grow up to follow in his footsteps, and all these very personal things. And so it comes full circle with that reveal on Kumiko's part to say, you know, I didn't really even like you at first. You had a chip on your shoulder. You're too snarky. You're not very likable. But after so much time, after all we've shared, after such a beautiful piece and the meticulous way you performed it, the way it impacted me, my emotions, I realized I love you. You are an elder sister to me. You are my sister, in a sense. And for it to come full circle like that, it was like that really made the idea of, hey, there's still another episode left, when I was left grasping at straws by the end of the previous, wondering what more could they do. Suddenly the other foot dropped for me, and I was like, okay, this was necessary. This needed to be done. If for nothing else, then the moving on of Kumiko, of Reina, of the entire class, all the second and now newly third years, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I thought it was just absolutely pitch perfect that the piece itself, Kumiko realizes that the piece itself is sound euphonium, Hibike euphonium, bringing it all home. You know, that's the series name, that's the journey we've been on, all of these things. It was that much more an extra sense of closure by the end. It's like you're playing an RPG and you beat the boss. You beat the final boss. You got most of the story elements down. You feel like this great sense of satisfaction. That was the previous episode. And then you decide to go and conquer all the side quests and wrap up every last nook and cranny, loose thread that there was. And that's what this episode felt like. It felt like going back and revisiting so much of what has come before, even going back to season 1, because of all the flashbacks and everything, really embodied that sense to me that this was the extra effort to really bring it all home. And I'm just going to be sorry to see this series go. I absolutely love the characters. I love, you know, there's a sense that Kumiko imparts, and I feel like it is the perfect summarization for how this series made me feel. In this piece that goes back to Asuka's father, in the name of it, Hibike Euphonium, she said that it carries with it a warmth. She feels and gets the sensation of warmth from it. And that's very much time and time and time again what I felt watching this series. It is a warm-hearted series. It just, you know, there are times when there are dramatic upturns and ups and downs and this, that, and the other thing. There are kooky elements. I mean, look at Yuko's face when she reacts to the fact that Natsuki was, you know, basically said to be the vice president and everything. She completely makes a hilariously grotesque face in reaction to that. You know, the highs and lows of drama, of adolescent life, really, school life, band life, trying to reach for the future while also holding on to your passions with all your effort. And that was definitely the highs and lows of this series. The characters are themselves warm-hearted. They are relatable, they're warm-hearted, their plight, you know, it's, as I said, at any time Kumiko was teary-eyed, I was teary-eyed, I was crying. And it's just, it befilled my heart with that sensation, that sense of warmth. And just, it always felt good. Every episode always felt good to watch. And I will miss it, definitely. And so, yeah, I mean, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well. And I'll catch you all later. Peace.